If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns are in trouble, and not the kind of trouble that disappears after one good drive or one lucky bounce. We're talking about the kind of offensive disaster that feels systemic, the type that starts at the top, trickles down through the coaching staff, and infects every inch of the field. Through 6 weeks of the season, the Browns' offense has looked like a car stuck in the mud, spinning its wheels, making noise, but going absolutely nowhere. The latest loss against their division rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, wasn't just another L in the standings. It was a flashing red warning light that this offense is completely broken. And the worst part? There's no clear fix in sight. Every week it feels like we're saying the same thing about Cleveland's offense. They can't move the ball, they can't score, and they can't find any sort of rhythm. Against Pittsburgh, it was like watching a rerun of the same frustrating show. The Browns put up just 248 total yards and managed only 9 points. 9 points. In today's NFL, that's not just bad, it's embarrassing. You could practically see the frustration on the sideline. The offensive players looked lost, the play calling was scattered, and the fans had that same familiar look of disbelief that's haunted this franchise for decades. What makes this meltdown even harder to stomach is that it's not coming out of nowhere. We've seen flashes of potential. There have been brief moments where the running game looked capable, where the play action showed promise, and where you thought, okay, maybe they're finally figuring it out. But every time the Browns seem ready to turn the corner, they crash into the same wall of incompetence. Against the Steelers, the run game completely vanished, just 65 yards on the ground. 65. That's not the Cleveland Browns football fans were promised. This was supposed to be a team built on power running, controlling the clock, and wearing down defenses. Instead, they look like a group that's forgotten how to execute even the basics of their identity. And then there's Kevin Stefanski, the man holding the play sheet, and, more importantly, holding the fate of this offense in his hands. His play calling on Sunday was nothing short of puzzling. Rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel, in just his 6th professional start, dropped back to pass 52 times against one of the most relentless defenses in football. Let that sink in. 52 pass attempts against T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and a defense that lives to feast on young quarterbacks. What exactly was the plan there? It's like Stefanski looked at the Steelers' pass rush and said, yeah, let's test them over and over again. The result was predictable: chaos, pressure, and disaster. Gabriel spent the entire afternoon running for his life. The offensive line, once a point of pride in Cleveland, has turned into a revolving door of injuries and disappointment. Both starting tackles are hurt, and losing Jack Conklin yet again to a concussion just added insult to injury. When your line is that banged up, you can't expect a rookie quarterback to stand tall in the pocket. The Steelers racked up 6 sacks, 14 quarterback hits, and 24 pressures. Those numbers aren't just bad, they're catastrophic. There's no scheme in football that can function when your quarterback is getting pummeled like that. Quinton Judkins, the rookie running back who's shown flashes of star potential, couldn't even get going because there were no holes to hit. Every run play looked doomed from the snap. The chemistry between Stefanski's play calling and this roster just doesn't exist right now. It feels like the head coach is calling plays for a different team, one that has an elite offensive line, a seasoned quarterback, and explosive wideouts who can create separation. But that's not this Browns team. They're young, inexperienced, and lacking the rhythm needed to run Stefanski's precision-heavy offense. There's no flow, no balance, and no adaptability. The playbook looks rigid, predictable, and completely devoid of creativity. You can almost hear opposing defensive coordinators laughing as they call out Cleveland's plays before the snap. What's worse is the psychological toll this slump is taking. You can sense the frustration building on the sidelines and in the locker room. Gabriel looks hesitant, second-guessing his reads. The receivers are visibly frustrated when the ball doesn't come their way. The linemen look exhausted, beaten both physically and mentally. And when a team gets to that point, when they start to lose confidence in themselves and their coaching, it's a slippery slope toward collapse. We've seen it happen in Cleveland before, and it's starting to feel like déjà vu. Next Sunday's matchup against the Miami Dolphins is being framed as a get-right game. On paper, this should be a golden opportunity for Cleveland's offense to finally show some life. Miami's defense has been atrocious this year, near the bottom of the league in almost every major category. They've allowed nearly 170 rushing yards per game, ranking dead last in the NFL. They're 30th in total defense and 28th in scoring defense, giving up nearly 29 points per game. If there were ever a week for the Browns to bounce back, it's this one. But here's the scary part. What if they don't? What if even against one of the league's worst defenses, this offense still can't find the end zone? What if the same mistakes, the stalled drives, the questionable play calling, the missed assignments, continue to haunt them? At that point, it won't just be about bad luck or injuries. It'll be about accountability. And that means eyes will turn to Kevin Stefanski and general manager Andrew Berry. They built this offense. They chose this quarterback. They designed this system. And if it keeps failing, the blame can't be dodged forever. Cleveland fans have been patient, maybe too patient, through years of false dawns and unfulfilled promises. They were told this was finally the year the Browns would have balance, an elite defense complemented by a competent, efficient offense. The defense has held up its end of the bargain more often than not, keeping games within reach. But the offense? It's been the anchor dragging this team down. And it's hard to watch because the potential is there. The talent exists. There are playmakers on this roster who could thrive in the right system. But right now, everything feels disjointed. Quinton Judkins deserves more touches, plain and simple. The kid runs with power and vision, and when he's given the chance, he can wear down defenses. The Browns need to lean into that, not force a pass-heavy approach that doesn't fit their personnel. Establish the run, take the pressure off Gabriel, and let the offense find some rhythm. It's not flashy, but it's what Cleveland used to do best. And being at home this week should help. Under Stefanski, the Browns have typically played much better in front of their home crowd. The noise, the energy, the atmosphere, all of it could give them the jolt they desperately need. Still, even with all that in their favor, the margin for error has vanished. Another offensive dud, especially against a struggling Dolphins defense, could push this team into full-blown crisis mode. The pressure will be unbearable. The fans will be calling for heads to roll. And in the NFL, once that kind of heat starts building, it rarely cools off on its own. Stefanski's job security might not be in immediate danger yet, but another few performances like this, and the whispers will turn into shouts. For now, all the Browns can do is regroup, refocus, and try to rediscover who they are. Football is about identity, and right now, Cleveland doesn't have one. They're not a power-running team. They're not a pass-first team. They're not even a team that capitalizes on its strengths. They're just lost. The offensive struggles are no longer just about poor execution or bad luck. They're about philosophy. Something fundamental is broken, and unless it's addressed quickly, this season could spiral beyond repair. The Browns don't just need a spark. They need a transformation. They need to find balance, discipline, and purpose. Because if they walk into that stadium on Sunday and put up another lifeless performance, it won't just be another loss. It'll be the moment everyone realizes that this offense, as currently constructed, might not be fixable. And in the brutal world of the NFL, when you can't score, you can't win. It's as simple and as devastating as that. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The Cleveland Browns locker room was buzzing with tension earlier this week, and if you thought you'd seen emotional eruptions in the NFL, think again. The latest storm comes straight from the mouth of quarterback Deshaun Watson, who reportedly let loose on head coach Kevin Stefanski in a way that left teammates, staff, and even some front office executives absolutely stunned. According to sources inside the building, what started as a typical post-practice debrief quickly escalated into a full-blown confrontation. Watson, known for his intense competitiveness and unwillingness to mince words, didn't hold back when addressing what he sees as missteps and mismanagement from Stefanski, and insiders suggest the remarks were as scathing as they were personal. Those present say the room fell into a shocked silence as Watson unleashed his frustration, with some players reportedly exchanging nervous glances, unsure whether to intervene or simply let it unfold. What's particularly notable, according to those with knowledge of the situation, is that this wasn't just a passing complaint or a mild critique. It was an all-out verbal assault on Stefanski's coaching style, play-calling decisions, and perceived inability to maximize the team's talent. Watson allegedly called out specific games, pointing fingers at crucial moments where he believes the offense could have performed at a much higher level had the play calling been more aggressive or better aligned with his strengths. Multiple sources emphasized that his tone was fiery, and it was clear that he was speaking not just for himself, but voicing frustrations he believes many of his teammates share privately. The intensity of the moment reportedly caught Stefanski off guard, and for a coach who has cultivated a calm, composed persona over the years, the event was nothing short of jarring. Those who have been in the league for years say it's rare to see such a direct and emotionally charged confrontation in a professional setting, especially with cameras not rolling, and it has already sparked a wave of speculation about what this could mean for the Browns moving forward. Word from inside the organization suggests that Watson has been increasingly vocal about his dissatisfaction with the offense, particularly in situations where he feels underutilized or when the game plan doesn't reflect his abilities. This public detonation of Stefanski, though unplanned, might actually be the culmination of weeks, maybe even months, of simmering frustration. One source close to the quarterback reportedly said, "Deshaun's been holding a lot back, but the intensity of the season and a few games that slipped away pushed him over the edge. He wanted to make sure everyone knew exactly how he feels." Another insider added that while Watson is known for his focus on performance and results, this kind of direct confrontation in the locker room is a rare, almost unprecedented move for him, highlighting just how serious he feels the issues are. The fallout from the incident is already rippling through the organization. Teammates reportedly have mixed feelings, with some supporting Watson's candidness and agreeing that Stefanski has made questionable decisions in critical situations, while others worry about the long-term impact on team chemistry. From the coaching staff's perspective, sources say the reaction ranges from defensive to reflective. Some staffers reportedly believe Stefanski will take this as a wake-up call to reassess his approach, especially regarding offensive schemes and player utilization, while others are bracing for internal tension that could spill over into the season. Meanwhile, front office executives are said to be quietly monitoring the situation, concerned about how public this incident could become and how it might affect both team morale and Watson's relationship with management moving forward. Rumors circulating off the record indicate that this confrontation might not remain isolated. Conversations in the locker room suggest Watson could seek more input in game planning, potentially demanding adjustments in the offensive strategy, or at the very least, a more collaborative approach between him and Stefanski. Some sources suggest the quarterback's frustration isn't purely about the X's and O's, but also about the broader culture within the team, including communication patterns, decision-making transparency, and what he perceives as missed opportunities to win key games. According to insiders, Watson's comments, though sharp, were rooted in a desire to see the Browns maximize their talent, particularly with the roster's current offensive weapons. The underlying message appears to be that he believes the team can do more, far more, than it has been showing on the field. Interestingly, this kind of emotional showdown could be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it highlights a level of accountability and passion from Watson that few quarterbacks demonstrate publicly. He's demanding excellence and refusing to settle for mediocrity. On the other hand, sources warn that the intensity of the confrontation and the blunt nature of his critique could strain the player-coach relationship, potentially creating friction if Stefanski perceives it as insubordination or disrespect. Multiple insiders hint that the Browns organization may have to navigate carefully, balancing Watson's needs and voice with the authority and vision of their head coach. How Stefanski responds in the coming days, especially in terms of public messaging and internal adjustments, will likely set the tone for whether this incident becomes a turning point or a source of lingering tension. Speculation is already running wild among fans and media alike. Social media has been ablaze with commentary, theories, and reactions, with some analysts framing it as a pivotal moment in the Browns season. Could this be the start of a major shakeup in Cleveland? Will Watson's frustrations lead to tangible changes in how the offense is run, or might it escalate into deeper divisions? While no official statements have been released, sources insist that the locker room remains tense and that the incident will have repercussions that extend beyond just one heated conversation. Those closest to the situation stress that this is not just about Watson blowing off steam. It's about a quarterback making it crystal clear that he wants results, and he's willing to confront the people he believes can make the difference. For the Browns, the next few weeks could define the trajectory of their season. If Watson and Stefanski find a way to align and channel this intensity positively, it could fuel a renewed offensive spark and galvanize the team around a shared mission. However, if the confrontation festers or becomes a point of division, the repercussions could be far more damaging, both on and off the field. Sources note that locker room dynamics are already under a microscope, with veteran players quietly assessing where they stand and younger players watching closely to see how leadership and accountability are handled. In short, the incident has sparked a ripple effect that extends well beyond a single moment of tension, raising questions about leadership, communication, and the high stakes of playing in a city that demands results from one of its most high-profile quarterbacks. As whispers continue and rumors swirl, one thing is clear: the Browns are at a crossroads. Deshaun Watson's decision to confront Stefanski so openly is unprecedented, and it signals a quarterback unwilling to accept half measures, mediocrity, or excuses. For fans, analysts, and insiders, all eyes are now on Cleveland, waiting to see how the team navigates this storm. Will this be a catalyst for growth, innovation, and offensive dominance? Or will it mark the beginning of a fracture that could haunt the season? As sources close to the situation suggest, the fallout is just beginning, and the drama is far from over. In a league where emotions are often kept behind closed doors, this public detonation has forced the Browns and the entire NFL to pay attention, reminding everyone that in Cleveland, accountability is not just expected, it's demanded. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!